Welcome back to One Piece Anime Re-Review Part 48. This is reviewing episode 733, no 33, 737 to 742. I just finished watching it. We got mostly in these episodes a little bit of setup for the very next arc of the series. I think one of these episodes actually does do it. Yeah, it's one that features the return of Sanji, Nami, Brook, Chopper, Caesar Clown, and Momo. Yeah, I think it's episode 738, I believe it is, where they have a scene in the episode where they're on what it looks like to be a very weird island. The whole point of this episode is to set up the Zoo Island arc, which is not the next arc of the anime. No, next arc after this arc wraps up will be Silver Mine. Yeah, it's nice to see a return of these characters. It's nice to hear Ericville reprises his role as Sanji for this one episode. Ian Sinclair as Brooke. Lucy Christian as Nami, my favorite of hers. Brianna Priscilla, I think her name is. I pronounce her last name. The voice of Chopper. It's nice to hear he's a clown again. I don't remember his voice actor. And of course you have Momo. Yes, of course they counter some people with horns. And of course, Sanji does notice the guy who he beat up in the episode who's riding a crocodile. It turns out this guy is part of the it's part of the Animal Pirates. And we get basically also the return of Gang Benj in this episode, in episode 38, where he's once again reprised by what's his name? Kyle Herbert. Yes, first time he's actually played the character since Sabaody. Yeah, it has been that frickin' long since we last saw him in the series. And also in this batch, we also see Law, Basil Hawkins, Scratch Archibald. This is during the period of time when they had an alliance, along with Killer, when they know something big hit the island. And what crawls out of the island, of course, this is seen by Mad Monk when this person fell off the Sky Island, and then of course, the narrator mentions, oh yeah, this guy is trying to commit suicide. He tried to kill himself like multiple times. Well, apparently he's been captured 18 times. He's been sentenced 40 times. And he just really wants to die so badly. And who is this person, you might ask? Well, when he crawls out of the hole, this gigantic person is none other than Kaido, the King of the Beast, a.k.a. the Governor General of the Animal Kingdom Pirates. Yes. And here's a little interesting thing. They actually announced this on Tuesday of last week, where they announced the guy who's voicing him. Those of you familiar with Gorilla Grodd from the Flash TV show, the 2014 version, the guy who voiced him in that voices Kaido here. You're thinking, that's interesting. And for his one episode he did so far, pretty good. Though in the case of Kaido himself, he actually would not return again for quite a while. Like a very long while, because I think he's mentioned a couple times. I think he appears maybe once in Zoo Island, but he does not make a major return until the current arc of the series, Wano. Yes. Meanwhile, on the island, where they're dealing with the aftermath of Doflamingo's, defeat. So we see the Grand Advisors show up along with Sengoku, who's now known as the Grand Inspector, which is a position that doesn't really do anything at all. Yeah, this is actually revealed by a few different people, where like this position has really no power at all, aside from the fact he actually can just advise basically the younger troops. He's basically an advisor. He has no real authority over a lot of people. He's allowed to go with anywhere he wants to because he's a former fleet admiral. And we also see the current fleet admiral where he's upset with the 5 elder idiots. This actually was in the previous episode. Yeah. So the Straw Hats are hiding out at Kiro's house. Yes, this actually is the first present appearance of this place, because the only time we saw this house was in flashback. We also see that Sabo comes by to visit them. And of course they get some enemy. Of course, also, Barto is here. Yes. Who's been bandaged up, and everyone asks why the heck is he there? Because he's a friend of Straw Hats. That's what Law tells everybody. That's the reason why he's there. So, oh, it's Bellamy. Yeah, Bellamy. I forgot about that. Yeah, his name's Bellamy, not Barto. So, in the case of the other pirates, the one who helped out Luffy during the action thing, they're hiding in the palace. And before they all go to sleep, the one thing we have Bartholomew basically, hey, give me a chain. And like, okay, why do you need a chain for? I need to tie up Cabbage. because of the fact of his thing, whenever he falls asleep, he goes up berserk mode. Which, smart of him to do, because he's like, I want to sleep properly. I don't want you to kill me while I'm in my sleep. Which, yeah, that's actually a really good idea to do. I'm surprised that he does not, lock himself in his room in his cabin. Lock himself in his cabin on his ship. And so, everybody prepares to leave. They have because basically a lot of Navy people are there. So we see Marshall, who is the princess, where she... I thought this was so funny. Everybody's like fawning over her because how adorable she is. Like the girls are fawning over her. Heck, even all the guys. And she basically becomes you use her healing power to heal all people who are injured throughout the Doflamingo's attack on the country. So they prepare like this big bag. And of course, Leo tells the inspector general, "Hey, be sure to bow before him because she's a princess." Which I think is so hilarious. So, and of course, the Grand Advisor, the Fengoku is like, thank you for coming to assist me to transport the Heavenly Demon. That's what he calls Doflamingo. He never refers to my actual name, just refers by his nickname, the Heavenly Demon. Here's the weird thing, though. I don't know if Oda's ever asked this at all. Where the heck come up with a nickname like the Heavenly Demon for Doflamingo? I get the fact he's a cool villain. Yeah, don't get me wrong. That he's got a good look. He's got a great voice actor, who I think he did a fantastic job in this arc. Which, he does appear once at the end of this arc, but after that, he does not return again until to the Reverie arc, which I might mention a little bit later. And we do see that members of the Ganghill team, with exception maybe 5, are all being hauled away into custody. Every single one of them. Not just the officers, but also the grunts as well. Which there must have been a lot of them. So, you probably think, okay, the Don Quixote family was defeated, so why is this Dressrosa arc still going on? We're in the aftermath. I'm surprised this was not made into a separate story, given the fact this is the aftermath of the Dressrosa stuff. So, you have Conjuro and Kinemon, where they volunteer to get some food because there's like no food in the place, and plus also Sabo. And of course, we do have an explanation how the heck Sabo survived, because it was suggested he died like about 14, 15 years prior to events of the series. Well, he's currently 22 now when Luffy last saw him, because he's about the same age as Portuguese. The mention I saw in the flashback he was 20. He's now currently 22. So when Luffy last saw him, it had been over a decade since his last appearance. They kind of changed the reason why he left. Of course, when I saw from an actual other flashback, he left at a particular time when they said goodbye to him. In the end, in this one, they mentioned, oh yeah, he ran away because he didn't want anything to do with his family at all, because they're not very nice people. So he runs away. Now, this next part is true. So he's sailing a ship, and then it's attacked by a celestial dragon. You might ask, who is a celestial dragon? As far as I can tell from reading forward in the manga, and of course in the anime, they never reveal exactly who this guy is. He just shoots him out of the water. So he's later found by a dragon. Of course, Ivankov, great to see the guy again. This probably is the first time since Return of Sabaody he's been seeing the series at this point. Though, after this episode, off the top of my head, I think next time that he may show up in the series, I think it's during the Reverie arc. I think that's next time you physically see him in the series. Mm-hmm. And of course, Dragon, basically, like, we get sort of like a recap of his time with the Revolutionary Army, and then of course they mention after a mission that Kola, Hack, and Sabo were on, they come back and they realize like something crazy has happened. It just because what happened Marine for 2 years, like just this actually was the big thing that ended the first half of the series. And they raise his paper and sees Ace's picture, and then he starts crying, and then he gets he collapses. Everybody's like worried about him, and he's out for 3 days. 3 days. And he has a conversation with Dragon where he pretty much remembers everything. He remembers that Luffy and Ace are his brothers. So, and we have another flashback here. We kind of a bit of expansion on what we saw prior of how when Sabo reunited with Luffy. With Luffy basically that, well, I mean, there's only one other person called me brother. Ace and the other person is no longer alive, and he takes up his hat. Look at it first, and he looks like Sabo? And he just jumps at him, gets a big hug, and starts crying. By the way, one of two people he did to the series. The only time he did a hug like this is when he reunited with Zoro in the Wano arc, because it's been a while since he last saw him. Yes, so, of course, Robin knows who he is because she traveled with the Revolutionary Army. Now, Frankie knew who he is. Frankie did not know who he is. Neither Usopp was actually unconscious, though. They did explain later on. Of course, Zoro, who is probably the only person who's actually met both the Luffy brothers here. Yeah, he's the only one who actually has. Because he met Ace in Alabasta when he briefly traveled with Luffy during that arc. So, he says his goodbyes, and he walks back to meet with the Revolutionary Army, which sends a fly back in these black birds. That actually is connected to a character. There's a member of the Revolutionary Army who does make crows. I don't remember his name because he actually does not make a physical appearance in this arc. I think he's mentioned. He does make an actual appearance in the Reverie arc, which, well, who knows when the anime gets to that. When it gets to the dub, it gets to that one. Let's see what else. So, they proceed, okay, we got the food, and of course, Luffy and everybody eats all the food. And they proceed to run to the port, which is where the reason why they went in that particular direction, because that's where Bartol's ship is. Of course, I'm not going to get to more of that until I get to the next part here. So, Luffy breaks up because basically there was a rumor swirl around that Kidos was not actually Rebecca's father, but this other guy who was a handsome prince who died during the war. And everybody kind of believes that story. And then Luffy basically is not happy with the lie, so he goes with Rebecca herself at the palace, where Rebecca, before she leaves, she apparently had asked her to take the position as the heir to the throne, and it's revealed by Viola later on that, get this, that her mother did the same thing too. So that was the second time she's been asked to become the heir to the throne, which she becomes the official lady in waiting. I wouldn't be surprised if she's named the second in line for the throne, because she wants to spend time with her father. Of course, Luffy takes her out. Of course, she flies across the city because she goes freaking nuts with Luffy going flying, and eventually they split off where they say their goodbyes. She goes reunite with her father in a very good scene in the series. Luffy is not there at the shoreline. All the rest of everybody else is there. So, along with the other people, and the Virgitoris shows up flying over there because they decided on that very day they need to go and rest him because he's playing dice the last few days. And the only reason why Luffy was able to recover peacefully was because dice kept saying 1 means no. So, since more than 1 was 6, so yes, go out and rest them all. And that's the episodes for you. Pretty good batch of episodes. Now, there's approximately 4 more episodes left, and then I'll also give my final thoughts. I'll do that in part 50. Yes. Part 49 will be the final 4 episodes of this particular batch of dub episodes. And part 50, my final thoughts on Dressrosa. Well, for the dub anyways. The reason why, because this arc went on so freaking long. Yes, it took a long time to release all these things, and now I finally get a chance to talk about these episodes. Yep. So yes, that's the particular review. Next one is going to be Case Closed. Yes, I'm finally going to get this, even though I should have got this a couple days ago, or like yesterday. In the case of Saturday, couldn't get to it because I was tired. Yesterday, because I got really late. Okay? But you'll find out what my thoughts on that soon. Okay? It's next video. Bye.